Alternative source of energy. Mr. Goshik.
I took a bunch of students, 24 of them, to a civic engagement conference, and one of the presenters was presenting alternative energy sources. There's a number of them out there. And I was curious about it because at our school in Holdingford, we're also putting solar panels up on the roof. And it's going to cost our heating, it's going to put our electricity and heating bill down quite a bit. Initially, it's fairly expensive, but there are grants out for that. And as oil prices, right now they're kind of low, but if they increase, it could become very expensive even to heat City Hall. And I was thinking if there's a way we could pursue some way to get solar panels or something, I can have this young man come and give a presentation to you about the different sources of energy that is out there. At least we can start thinking about it. Maybe it's something in the near future we could look into, maybe trying to obtain a grant, put solar panels on or something. And like I say, Holdingford School is doing it now, and we're actually getting a lot of attention from a lot of newspapers and TV stations, because they're interviewing our superintendent, because we're making an attempt at actually doing something instead of relying on petroleum-based fuels.
Welton has done the same.
So anyway, and this is the same young man that presented at Royalton, and they're pursuing it there. I'm just wondering if you're interested in me contacting him. He said he would come and give a presentation. He'd be more than happy. But I said you have to be willing to want him to be here. So it's up to you. I would like to see it.
So would I.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a comment. From the October 31st Minnesota, Positively Minnesota news release, St. Paul, Minnesota was among 3 states and 1 U.S. territory that were selected by the National Governors Association to participate in a program to encourage growth of their clean energy industries. So there's deed funding specifically for the state of Minnesota for this. I'll be happy to share this with you afterwards.
Yeah, I'll read it. Are we interested in this? Would you like me to make an invitation and see if he can arrange with Dan, a time he can come, one of our work session meetings or something?
Won't hurt to hear it.
I think we should.
Not going to cost us to listen, is it?
No. Brian?
I always welcome information on things like that. So
Okay, then I'll give, in fact, I won't go out and do it. I'll give the information who the man is and his organization, and you can talk to him and deal with it.
Okay.
Full-time city administrator, Mayor.
Yeah, we've been kind of talking about this about the last year, and I guess after listening to some of the debates and then finding out that a large portion of the council would like to see us have a full-time administrator. So I guess I'd like to get the ball rolling on that, and I know that Dan is part-time here, and I feel the city the size that it is and the things that are going on, we need somebody full-time.
And Dan, also, you're not going to work here forever.
No, I mean, don't even think about my feelings or whatever. I mean, I encourage you to do a full-time administrator. That's just fine. I've always said that I don't plan to do this more than through next year. It doesn't have to be here. I've got some opportunities up north that I know I can cultivate. There's no doubt that I haven't been as engaged as a full-time administrator would be or should be. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I'm at the end of my career. That's stuff that I think people maybe that are a little younger, certainly can do. I'd suggest that if you want my suggestion, first of all, I think you should decide you want a search firm to do it. David Drown does this kind of work now. Springstead does it. There's Bremeyer. There are others. Right? We can go out and in fact, we've talked to David Brown's company, and we kind of know what their numbers are. We gotta talk to the NJPA, because he's got a relationship with NJPA now, maybe with some reduced fee, which would be wonderful. And then maybe get some proposals from a few firms on the pricing to have a search firm do it. You know, the community is big enough. I think you need some outside help. They'll come in and they'll talk about the job description. That's where you get back to, do we want to do some finance stuff in that job description, what you want to pay, what kind of benefits and all that. You know, we've calculated, what some numbers might be versus, full-time versus what you're paying me, obviously. And we can talk about that at the budget meeting. But I think initially, if you want us to, and you can get some consensus to do that, we can go out and find some pricing for a search firm to do it. Even if you start, you start now, or you start in November, you start in December, I mean, you're talking several months to get this done. You're probably talking, in the spring sometime. By the time everything is done, if you're hiring someone away from somewhere else, they're getting a 45-day notice or whatever, you got to go through all the whole process. It's going to take some time. So, I mean, you're still talking 4 or 5 months to get this thing done. It seems to me, I don't know that. The search firm may come in here and say it's going to take 6 or 8. I doubt it. But, you can go fairly fast. But if you want us to, we'll go out, we'll get some proposals from some companies on what they do, what they provide, and how much they'll charge, and that's just fine.
And you had mentioned NJPA. I know that they do provide some of these services, so we can check into that and see
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah.
they use.
And Gruber has said that they do it free.
Who?
And Gruber.
From
Used to
NJPA.
be the administrator.
Yeah, I know.
Now, up at Staples, the Joint Powers Group, she says that they provide that service free. So that's.
We'll take a look at it. Certainly, we have to have some conversation with them anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, we just passed a preliminary budget cap at 10%. Reason why I was looking at a higher one is because of stuff like this. At least that gave us some room where we can maybe work in a new administrator. Now our hands are tied. We're stuck at 10%. We might not be able to get a new administrator because of that. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. There was an article put out by an ex-senator, I won't mention any names, but saying that we passed a 14% and the mayor was behind us. 14% levy increase, which was only a preliminary budget. And sometimes you need a levy if we're going to get something like this. And I just want to bring that up because we have to look at these things a little bit harder.
It's election time, you know that.
I ain't running for anything.
I know.
So.
And he's a representative, not a senator.
Yeah. Anything else? Dan, I was just wondering, and I was looking at the bills, and we talked about it, and I know people have asked me about it, and we talked about it a little bit in our session. Charter TV franchise. I noticed on my bill it's costing like $4 and some cents.
Yeah, I think he just walked in. They're starting today. We'll be back on tonight. So I did contact Scott Wonderwood, and he did give me some information. And I don't know if you got that in front of you. I just got it today. So you'll get I think it's about a page and a half about what they've been doing and what they've been spending their money on, and that's the issue. We keep paying them for the service, but they're not providing the service. So he updates you on that. I also, in that letter, I asked him to come to the next council meeting or maybe work session, whatever, just to update the council. What's going on.
Good.
Just to forewarn you, do not throw your old box away. I almost pitched mine. I could have been charged $147 for that. I need to get it to St. Cloud. So as I had it out on the deck and it was raining on it, I was getting tossed.
It doesn't work so good.
Somebody mentioned that, so I'm glad I didn't pitch it.
Anything else?
The only other thing, I just wanted to report, the city did receive a complaint regarding some of our police department officers that is currently under investigation. We have an outside investigator taking a look at that. The same person that investigated when we had another investigation a number of months ago now. So just wanted to update you on that, and when that report comes through, you'll see it. you'll get it. If you have any questions about that, I would ask you to refer those to the city attorney's office.
Anything else? Any Situated complaints, we've got a few minutes. If not, we stand adjourned until 7:30.